Israel with another Sabbath class. We thank you for joining us today. We hope that everyone is enjoying their Sabbath. You have come into a teaching that has already begun. We are in 1 Samuel chapter 8. I think we are at verse number 7. And we're moving on to verse number 8. Let's see what he says. For they have not rejected thee, but they have rejected me, that I should not reign over them. Now, my question to you guys today is, if the people that are in the land are really Israel, why don't they have a monarchy set up as a king? Because this is what we've always had. They have structured themselves like the other nations. But if they are really Israel, shouldn't they have a kingship set up?
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Well, they're not the people, man. They're not going to get it right. There's certain things that they cannot do, and they're afraid to do. They say that they can't call on the name of the Almighty.
Yeah, that's true. I heard another lady's voice. I mean, a lady's voice. What was you trying to say, sis?
I think I may have heard the question wrong.
Oh, okay. Okay, well, let's go. Watch. According to all, verse 8, according to all the works which they had done since the day I brought them up out of Egypt. Now, this is the Most High talking to Samuel. He said, they haven't rejected you. They have rejected me. All the things I've done since I brought them up out of Egypt, even unto this day, wherewith they have forsaken me and served other gods, so do they also unto thee. Now, therefore, he said, hearken unto their voice, howbeit yet protest solemnly unto them, and show them the manner of the king that shall reign over them. The Most High was like, if you want a king, I'm going to show you exactly what he's getting ready to do.
Okay.
That's what he said. And Samuel told all the words of the Most High unto the people that asked him of a king. And he said, this will be the manner of the king that shall reign over you. He will take your sons and appoint them for himself, for his chariots to be his horsemen, and some shall run before his chariots. He's going to take your children, watch. And he will appoint him captains over thousands and captains over 50, and will set them to ear his ground, and to reap his harvest, and to make instruments of war and instruments of his chariot. And he will take your daughters to be confectionaries, to be cooks, and to be bakers. Now, I knew somebody was going to ask me, what is a confectionery? So I made sure I put this in here so you can see. It says confectionery, those who make confections, perfumers who compound species and perfumes. I guess they're supposed to be spices. I don't know. But that's what they said in the internet that a confectionery means. Basically, people who make things to smell good. Watch. And he will take your fields and your vineyards and your olive yards, even the best of them, and give them to his servants. He will take of the tenth of your seed and of your vineyards and give to his officers and to his servants. He will take your men servants and your maid servants and your goodliest young men and your ashes and put them to his work. He will take a tenth of your sheep, and ye shall be his servants. Ye shall cry out in that day because of your king, which you have chosen, which shall have chosen you, and the Lord and the Most High will not hear you in that day. He said, you're going to get tired of him taking stuff from you. He said, but this is what you wanted, so I'm not going to hear you. I'm not going to do anything about it. Watch. Nevertheless, the people refused to obey the voice of Samuel, and they said, nay, but we will have a king over us. So this was the people's choice.
Right. I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Is this where Christian ministers come from with the tithe 10%?
Kind of, sort of, but not really. They mostly deal with the 10% coming from Abraham to Melchizedek. Because, see, this is the king taking the 10%. It was like a tax he was putting over them. You know what I'm saying? That like when the president taxes your wages and you have to give a certain amount of tax, this was a king basically setting a tax for the people of Israel. They try to say that they are the priest and that you need to bring a tenth to the storehouse So they're basically saying they are the Levites.
Right.
And they're not Levites.
They also use Malachi, too.
Yes, that's when they try to scare the mess out of you.
Malachi chapter 3.
You know, that the devourer's going to come and eat up all your stuff, and I mean, it's just ridiculous. But, yeah, this is not that. But they do use those scriptures to try to keep the people subjugated so you can take care of them.
Right.
Basically. Any other questions?
Yes, I do have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there any place that indicates why our ancestors wanted a king like the other nations? I don't recall reading anything in the 66 books, but I haven't gotten through all the other books to see if it goes more into why were they so insistent on the king.
You know what? That's a really good question. Okay, someone just called in. Hold on. Can you please phone on mute? Whoever it was that just called in, because there we go. Thank you. It's an echo. I can hear an echo. Okay, somebody said something. They were answering the question.
I can answer that.
Okay.
When they came out of Egypt and they came across the wilderness, they were encountering giants, and those giants were kings. They had crowns on their head. So they wanted a king like the other nations they had came across. The Hittites, the Jebusites, all of them had kings over them, giants that had crowns on their head that were structured, and they was craftsmen of metal, and they had these real sophisticated crowns on their head. So by the time they got to their land, they wanted a king like the other nations they had seen on their way in.
Okay. I mean, that's a possibility. Well, that's
why Saul was chosen. Saul was head and shoulders above everybody else. He was tall.
He was very tall. He was. They said he was tall and good looking.
I know. Thank you.
All right, here we go. Verse 20. That we also may be like all the nations. Here we go. And that our king may judge us and go before us and fight our battles. So they wanted a king, so like he said, so they could be like all the other nations that was around them. And he's right. The other nations that they saw was the Hittites and the Amalekites and the Jebusites and the Girgazites and all the Zites and Ites, and those were giants. They were. Watch. And Samuel heard all the word of the people, and he rehearsed them in the ears of the Most High. And the Most High said unto Samuel, hearken unto their voice, and make them a king. And Samuel said unto the men of Israel, go ye every man unto his city. And okay, now we getting ready to get into, that was chapter 8. Now we getting ready to go to 2 Samuel chapter 7. Here we go. It says, and it came to pass when the king sat in his house, and the Most High had given him rest round about all his enemies, that the king said unto Nathan the prophet, see now, I dwell in the house of cedar, but the ark of the Most High dwelleth within curtains. Then Nathan said to the king, go, do all that is in thy ear, for the Most High is with thee. And it came to pass that night that the word of the Most High came unto Nathan, saying, go and tell my servant Dawid, thus saith the Most High, shalt thou build me a house for me to dwell in? He said, whereas I have not dwelt in any house since the time that I brought up the children of Israel out of Egypt unto this day, but have walked in a tent and in a tabernacle. And all the places wherein I have walked with all the children of Israel, spake I a word with any of the tribes of Israel, whom I commanded to feed my people Israel, saying, why build ye not me a house of cedar? He said, I never asked anybody to do anything like that for me. The Most High has never done that. He said, now therefore so shalt thou say unto thy servant Dawid, thus saith the Most High of hosts, I took thee from the sheepcote, from following the sheep, to be ruler over my people, over Israel. And I was with thee whithersoever thou went, and have cut off all thy enemies out of thy sight. And I have made thee a great name, like unto the name of the great men that are in the earth. Moreover, I will appoint a place for my people Israel, and will plant them, that they may dwell in a place of their own. no more, neither shall the children of wickedness afflict them anymore as before time. And anybody have any questions? Because I really want to go back to that one. Hold on. Any questions? Comments?
I have a comment.
Yes, ma'am. What? Go ahead, we listening.
As you go back to 1 Samuel, and just reading 1 Samuel there, and he was talking about they were asking for them a king, to make them a king like all the other nations. But the Most High was Israel's king already. So they wanted kings like everybody else. So I'm looking at that and thinking about when they fell into bondage and slavery. They chose their slavery, because he told them that they will get possession over them and their children and everything they had. So it looked like they chose to go into bondage to other nations.
Well, they did everything that they chose to do. The Most High allowed them to do it so that they would be able to see that the choices that they made were not for their good.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? Even the choosing of a king, but because they did, I'm going to show you, we're going down to the scriptures to show you how the Most High has established it forever.
Right.
And this is one of the covenants that he made that we have to go forward with, because David is coming back. So in order for David to come back, we have to understand why his kingdom is going to be a forever ruling kingdom in the earth.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
You know, I'm 65 years old, and I learned that I was a Hebrew when I was 63. And, you know, you come up with all these new rules that you didn't know existed. I mean, you went to church and all that. You come up with all these rules and you know, all the, you know, the Ten Commandments, basically. To me, this is like I'm used to rules and everything. I spent 20 years in the Marine Corps, so I know rules and everything. But you have to know what the rules are. And this truth, that you call it, you kind of, right now I'm still fishing around for what the hell am I supposed to do now?
well, let me say this. That's why you should just stick with us, because we're on our way to the law. And let me say why I'm doing this, because we have to establish the covenant, and that's what we did last week. Week before last, we began to establish the covenant with that, what a covenant is, and how Yah made a blood covenant with Israel, and that how he's making. So what we're doing today is establishing what kind of a government we had. Right. Because right now we're in a democracy in the land of our captivity, away from our culture, our land, and our government.
Right.
So, you know, we have to establish that Yah established this kingship in the scriptures as it pertains to Israel, because this is what we wanted. And as we begin to walk down the scriptures, then we're going to walk into the law, and we're going to explain the different facets of the law. Because you have, I used to say 5, but I can say now maybe 6, because we have a moral law. And I have to get into him choosing us as a nation, because he chose us to be a nation of people. And with any governing body of a people, you have to have a law, because if people were allowed to just do whatever they wanted to do, where would there be any consistency or any righteousness in a group of people? So the law was established to govern the people. It does not give salvation, but it was given to us to govern the people so that we would consider ourselves to be in right standing with the Most High. And he explained why. He even told us, I don't want you to do what the other nations did. I brought you in this land, and I gave you this land because these are the things that they used to do. He said, and I don't want you to do what they do. I want you to do what I tell you to do. And if you do these things, then you will be considered righteous, and you shall live and not die. So that's what we're doing now. We're in a process of establishing some things for the newcomers so that you guys will understand that this is the government that we're supposed to be under. And then we're walking down the slides to show you how he chose us as a nation. And then once he chose us as a nation, he gave us a law to follow behind. You know, just like today, for instance, the Sabbath day. The Sabbath day for us is from sundown on Friday to sundown on Saturday. And in that time, these are the things that we're supposed to be doing. We're not supposed to do any servile work. We're not supposed to buy anything on the Sabbath. We're not supposed to cook anything on the Sabbath. We are supposed to have a holy convocation and come together on the Sabbath. You're not to have sexual intercourse with your wife on the Sabbath. And see, a lot of people don't know these things, so we have to establish precedents so that you understand why we do what we do.
Amen.
Yeah, got it.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yes, Diana, I had a comment, Brother Emmanuel, if you would.
Sir.
When I look at what we're reading here in 1 and 2 Samuel, still the people today, I try to do a modern-day application when I hear you teach, that here we are, we're still trying to find ourselves, and people are still looking for a leader.
Right.
And as they're looking for this leader, you know, the Shabbat, the Sabbath day, it helps us to stay grounded, because until Yah selects that leader, we're not have somebody worthy of leading us, and it just keeps people from running around in the dark. But my question to you is, I see that similar today, how the judges were taking bribes back then, and even Samuel's sons, you know, when he put them out, and I understand that Samson was also a judge. Could you speak at some point the qualifications of what it took to become a judge among our people? How were the judges selected?
Well, I can say that Samuel was actually a prophet. His sons were the judges. You know, they went into the judgeship. And I'm working my way down to that, so just give me a minute and I will go into the process of the judges, because that was a period where the Most High allowed them to be able to rule on certain matters of the nation. And people got tired of it because it became corrupt. Just like most people in authority. I mean, you know, when you have people in authority, everybody's not going to be righteous. So as they became corrupt, they said, we don't want this no more. We want a king. But guess what? The king was corrupt. You know, so it is until the Most High's position that he comes and rules so that we'll have a righteous kingdom. But I will answer that question. Just give me a minute and we'll go into that. Any other questions?
You were started to give us the different categories of the law.
Oh, yeah, I'm glad you said that. Okay, different categories of sin. You guys might want to write this down, because we're going to go into these not this week, but next week. Hopefully next week, because I really want to lay the precedence down, because, you know, it's something that ate at me, and I was so upset I had to calm myself down. I heard one of the other groups on YouTube tell these people in the church that it was a sin for a woman to teach. And I said, now, wait a minute, hold on now. I said, now, let me clear up some things. I said, a sin? I said, so we know that sin is the transgression of the law. So, show me in the law where Yah said that a woman cannot teach. Do not show me Timothy. Because Timothy was, let me say something about the New Testament. I love the New Testament, and I keep it in context. Timothy wrote a letter to Paul. And he wrote a letter just like I would write to Sister Sanaya. Shalom, Sister Sanaya. I am dwelling in Mesopotamia. I am at the church of Ephesus. And I notice there's a lot of confusion in the church. The women are speaking out. It would be to the advantage that the women keep silent in the church and let them learn from their husband. Blah, 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 that a woman should not assert authority over a man. Timothy does not write the law. It was a letter. Now, they put it in there, and they look at it as though it's a law. That is not one of Yah's laws. That is a letter that he wrote. But, like I said, This is why we're going to do the law, because we have to know what the law is, what his statutes are, and what his judgments are. Then I said to myself, well, if that's the case, then Yah broke his own law because Deborah was a judge.
That's right.
And she had a husband. So it's time to put some clarity to this thing so that there's no misunderstanding, because a lot of people will jump on that bandwagon. That's right, she ain't so. No, we're going to keep it in context so we understand what it is. So the maybe 6 categories of the law. We have the moral law, which tells us what we can and cannot do with each other, those things that are abomination to the Most High. That's when he gets into the sexual things and, the different things that morally he does not want us to do as a nation. Then we have the civil law. This is supposed to be the new one, which it can still fall up under moral law. But the civil law, which says that I can't cheat you, that there's a certain way as an Israelite we have to conduct business among ourselves. Then you have the feast day laws. This is the ceremonial law, is what we call it. These are the feast days that we keep as Israelites that the Most High gave us to keep. Then you have the sacrificial law, which is the animals that we had to sacrifice in order to get atonement for breaking the law. And then we have the judgment part of the law. And then we have the dietary law, which says what we can and what we cannot eat. So the judgment part of the law told you what you needed to do, either you're going to be cut off or whether you was going to be killed or whether you was going to be unclean or whatever it was, whatever you did to break the law, this was the punishment part of it. And the dietary law told you what you can and cannot eat. And we need to clarify these things because there's a lot of people walking around in the dark saying things, and it's like, no. So those are the things that we're going to go over, and it's going to take us a minute because I don't want to rush through that. I want to be able to lay those laws, statutes, and commandments out so that everyone will be able to know them and know what's of us and what part of it is of the Ashkenazi Jew and what part we need to, what is real and what isn't real and what we need to keep and what we don't have to keep. Any questions?
What was number 3?
Oh, my goodness. You want me to go back to 3? Somebody tell me what 3 was. I didn't write it down.
Ceremonial law.
That's the ceremonial law with the high holy days.
Ceremonial?
Yes, sir. Those are our holidays, so to speak, but we call them holy days.
Okay.
So we don't keep 4th of July and Labor Day. We don't keep those holidays because most of those holidays are a reference to how our captors took over this land.
What about Valentine's Day?
Well, no, definitely not. But we don't get into all of that because that stuff is pagan.
Right.
Yep.
Close my nose pagan.
Now, it doesn't mean, let me say this, it doesn't mean that if you want to give your girl something or your wife something, you can do it on any day.
Right, but not on Saturday.
You don't get a pass where you don't have to do nothing now, but you got to do something.
Okay, I got a question.
Yes, sir.
Okay, if you do those holidays, it's just like you serving another God, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I understand now.
Yes, sir.
I got it. I read loud and clear.
All right, good. So, like I said, if you want to do something nice, I do stuff for my grandkids all the time, but I don't do Christmas.
Right, no, not definitely Christmas. I just found out that right there was a big one because I always celebrated. I found out, so now I know. I know better.
Now, somebody's phone is making a lot of noise. It sounds like, I don't know what it is, but it sounded really loud, like somebody's moving something or, I don't know. Okay, let's keep going. Anybody else have anything else they want to say?
Sister Diana, I just had a quick comment to make from what the brother last. Children of Israel wanted a king, and as you were reading the scriptures, I also just heard then there was really a fear factor, that they wanted something that they can see. Although they had been with the Most High and see the great things He has done, it was still a matter of them seeing something physical because of the fear. And I just think that has a lot of implications for how we operate today as a people.
That's a very good point. Because you know what? If He was with you, you didn't need anything else. But because we looked like we didn't have anyone with us, and because we didn't look like the other nations, and we weren't established like the other nations were established, they wanted to look like everybody else. So the Most High said, "Is that what you want? I'm going to give it to you." Because I could have did it. You know, I can hear Him say, I'm well qualified to take care of you. I got a whole host of military here that will, at my beck and call, that will do whatever, and we can turn it upside down for you. But because you don't really believe me, and you got to have something physical to touch, I'll give you a king.
Yeah.
And that's what it was. And it's like today. I mean, we go through that today. I don't care how faithful you are. I don't care how much you read that Bible. I don't care how much you know Yah. There comes a time in your life where you lose faith. Because you have to talk yourself through something sometimes so that you don't lose out on believing Yah. And it could be the smallest of things because we're human. You know, and we're under the system of our captors, so it could be anything going wrong. And you be like, oh, my God, this is it. I done said that so many times, I can't even count no more. I done told you, if you don't come right now, this is it. Mm-hmm. And I'm still here.
Yeah.
And it came and went. So, you know, we all have to get to that point where we trust Him no matter what happens. If it do, it do. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I'm no matter what, I'm going to stand fast and know that if He want to do it, He can. If He doesn't, He won't, but I'm going to be all right.
Amen. And
you know?
Can you talk about the judgment laws?
Say that again?
The judgment laws.
What about them?
I said, what are the judgment laws?
Those are the laws that give you punishment. That is the punishment. It's like this law. If you know, they have a law here, and I'm glad you brought that up because everybody says in Christianity, oh, no, you don't have to keep the law. The law is done away with. But guess what? As soon as you got off the phone, you had to keep that law, whether it was a slave master's law, and then when you were so-called free, you had to keep the law of the land. And if you break that law, there's a punishment for that law. So some were unto death. Some excommunicated you from the nation. Some made you unclean unto even. It was just different punishments for different laws.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. All right, here we go. He says, we're still in, I think, 2 Samuel chapter 7. He said, and as since the time that I commanded judges to be over my people Israel, and have caused them to rest from all thy enemies, also the Most High telleth thee that He will make thee a house. And when thy days be fulfilled, and thou shalt sleep with thy fathers, I will set up thy seed after thee, which shall proceed out of thy bowels, and I will establish His kingdom. So he said, your children that come forth, mainly your male seed, I'm going to establish your kingdom. He said, and he shall build a house for my name, and I will establish the throne of His kingdom forever. All right. Any questions? So this is King David's covenant that the Most High made with him. Watch. There's an oath. We're still in the same chapter. Watch. Verse 14. He said, and I will be his father, and he shall be my son. If he committeth iniquity, I will chasten him with the rod of men, and with the stripes of the children of men. But my mercy shall not depart away from him, as I took it from Saul for me. He said, I ain't going to cut him off like I did Saul, because he cut Saul completely off. He said, and thy house and thy kingdom shall be established forever before thee. Thy throne shall be established forever. According to all these things and according to all this vision, so did Nathan speak unto David. Then went the king David in and sat before the Most High, and he said, Who am I, O Yah Elohim? And what is mine house that thou hast brought me hitherto? And this was yet a small thing in thy sight, O Yah Elohim, but thou hast spoken also of thy servant's house for a great while to come. And is this the manner of man, O Yah Elohim? And what can David say any more unto thee? For thou, O Yah, Yah Elohim knoweth thy servant. He said, what else can I say? Who am I that you would give me all of this? Because he gave him a kingdom. And he was a young man. He said, for thy word's sake and according to thy own heart hast thou done all these great things to make thy servant know them. Wherefore thou art great, O Yah Elohim, for there is none like thee. Neither is there any Elohim beside thee, according to all that we have heard with our ears. And what one nation, listen to what he says, and what one nation in the earth is like thy people, even like Israel, whom Yah went to redeem for a people to himself and to make him a name. So in order for us to be a nation, and a nation of people, he chose us to make him a name among the other nations. Watch. And to do for you great things and terrible for thy land before thy people, which thou redeemest to thee from Egypt, from the nations and their gods. We're a nation. Back here, what one nation in the earth? We're a nation. I heard one of the Israelite teachers say, we ain't no nation. I don't know where she's getting that from. We ain't no nation. I politely and very respectfully told him, you need to keep reading.
In his eyes, we are.
You know, we a nation. We're supposed to be a nation in our own eyes.
But it's also redeeming his name.
Exactly.
For his name's sake.
For his name's sake. He made us a nation. Can somebody tell us where we became a nation at? Where were we when he made us a nation?
In the wilderness.
We was in the wilderness.
We just come out of Egypt.
Yeah. We were in the wilderness. We had just come out of Egypt in the wilderness.
I want to say one thing also, too, based on what you just read. He said he's going to redeem his name from the nation, right? Right now, the nation's just going around, just trampling all over his name.
That is absolutely correct.
And his name is only for us. But they parading around like it's theirs.
Absolutely.
Well, and then, I look at this, and I say this with all respect and passion. You look at the people that are there who say they are the children of Israel. And what nation would be redeemed back to their land would allow the things that they are allowing to go on there? I mean, from a moral standpoint.
See, that's one thing. That's why the Almighty had separated us from. We were supposed to be separated from the other nations. See, He brought us to jealousy. You understand? We supposed to be jealous for that land because how they treating it, and it's supposed to be trotting down the Gentiles should trotting down the land. You understand? And that's supposed to bring us to jealousy, and it makes us really want to go back home. You understand? And see how important it is for us to go back home. Well, we can't go now, of course, but it's all written in the scriptures how is the transformation going to be. You understand?
Absolutely. 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 Watch. He said, and what one nation in the earth is like thy people? Well, what one nation is like the children of Israel? Even like Israel, whom Yah went to redeem for a people to himself. We are his people. We're his people.
Oh, yeah. That's right.
And to make what? And to do for you great things and terrible for thy land before thy people, which thou redeemest to thee from Egypt, from the nations and their gods. He pulled us out of Egypt so we wouldn't have to worship those gods anymore. Watch. For thou hast confirmed to thyself a people, Israel, to be a people unto thee forever. And thou, Yah, art become their Elohim. He's our God.
All right. Speak the truth.
He's our God. This is what the scripture says. He is our God.
Amen.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
And we are his people. We his people. He said to be a people unto him, unto thee forever.
And
that will
they
never,
stand,
ever change.
They can't stand.
Sure can't. Everybody
They can't
can
stand that. They cannot stand that. That's what makes them rebel against us. They know we their people, but God people.
But you know what it is? Guess what? They have inherited lies too.
That is correct.
They have. That's what they was raised to believe, that it was going to be a certain way too. And to guess what? And to come to this knowledge and this reality, it would be hard for me too. I'm just glad I'm on the other side.
That's right.
No?
Amen.
Why did he put that lie out that he was white? That he was white?
Because guess what? They did that so that they could keep us in the dark.
Yeah.
That was all a plan. Psalms 83, or I think it's Psalms 83. They did that to keep us in the dark so that we would never come to the knowledge of who we really were. But guess what? Not only did they feed it to us, they fed it to their people too.
And then when, like right today, they found out that he really black. Now they say the colors don't matter. But back long time ago, they used to have a water fountain. They said white only and black only. If it mattered back then, it matters now.
That's right, sir. You better say that again. And like I always say, well, if it didn't matter, then why did you change it?
Right. We had to sit on the back of the bus. It mattered then. When we sat on the back of the bus,
right.
So.
Right. But guess what? Only those who can accept it and those who can repent, in my opinion, according to what I read, are those who Yah will allow to be strangers. Because there's not going to be any hatred in there. It's not going to be no more racism in there. It's not going to be no more nothing in there. So, and it's a hard pill to swallow. That's a hard pill to swallow. When you've been reading this book all these years, and you felt like this is the way it's going to be because this is what Christianity gave you, then to realize that the very people who you all looked down on and pitied was his people for real.
Well, it's not to the Israelite and then to the Jew, and then to the Gentile. That is what the Bible says, correct?
That's what it says. But again, let me say this though. Again, you have Israelite teachers that teach that the Gentile is really the Israelites that were scattered. Now that is true to a point. That is very true to a point. But again, we are definitely we're going to address that because there are also some of those that were not Israelites that the Most High, the stranger, is going to come with us, I believe, according to Scripture.
Right. That's why Yahushua says, whosoever will come to him. Because if he be lifted up, he will draw all men to him. All men.
Because when the time comes, and the 1,000-year kingdom is set up, every nation is going to serve him. Ain't nobody going to be able to be away from him. It's going to be the real one world government for real.
Yeah, you right.
Amen. Well, I mean, look at it. That's what Satan is trying to imitate.
Exactly.
He's trying to imitate God's system, but he's doing it in a way where it is not right. He's using force.
Exactly. And then,
you got to look at what the laws are. The first 10 commandments. You understand? It speaks about us being a nation right in those whole little things, those whole 10 commandments. It teach about how we supposed to be towards one another. You understand? So righteousness will flow from Jerusalem throughout the four corners of the earth.
That's right.
We're supposed to love one another and help one another out.
Right.
That's what we really need to do. We need to help one another out.
Yeah, we need to be able to set those things up first. You understand? Right now we're held to skelter.
Right.
You understand? You know, I mean, if I take something to help you out, I'll be starving next week. So we got to build a committee or something that's going to house a system that's going to help that. That's just my opinion now. But one or two of us, man, we ain't going to be able to do nothing for nobody. We starving ourselves. We got to trust in the Almighty with all our heart and all our soul. We ain't got
that's what I used to do, because I have helped people out, and they come back and pay me, but sometimes they be slow to pay. But I be slow to anger, because I know that I trying to help them, but they still come back and pay me. But, like I said, I always had the heart to try to help another person, and that's how I get my blessing.
All right.
I help people. I put myself on the spot.
Right. Okay, let's go on. Here we go. 25, verse 25. And now, O Yah Elohim, the word that thou hast spoken concerning thy servant and concerning his house, establish it forever and do as thou hast said. And let thy name be magnified forever, saying, the Most High of hosts is the Elohim over Israel. Look at that. The Most High of hosts is the Elohim over Israel. And let the house of thy servant David be established before thee. For thou, O Yah of hosts, Elohim of Israel, have revealed to thy servant, saying, I will build thee a house. Therefore have thy servant found in his heart to pray this prayer unto thee. He said, let every word that you say be established, because you are the Elohim over Israel. And guess what? Like I said again, he's our God.
Amen.
He's our God. And guess what? Because he's been silent for so long, and because he's allowed certain things to happen, everybody's been able to teach and say whatever they want to say and do whatever they want to do and set up whatever they want to set up. But there's coming a time when he's going to show up and put everything he's going to prove everything.
Glory.
So I don't get mad when the people of the other nations try to confirm that they are who they are. They have a right to believe whatever they want to believe, just like we have a right to believe whatever we want to. But in the end, the Most High knows those that are his.
Amen. In the end.
In the end, he knows those that are his. And he's going to come and separate the wheat from the tare. He's going to separate, because there's not going to be any hatred and racism at all whatsoever.
That is correct.
None. So hold on. Here we go. He said, and now, O Yah Elohim, thou art that Elohim, and thy words be true. And thou hast promised this goodness unto thy servant. Therefore now let it please thee to bless the house of thy servant, that it may continue forever before thee. For thou, O Yah Elohim, hast spoken it, and with thy blessings let the house of thy servant be blessed forever. All right, any questions? I mean, because when we start talking about this is something that, even with Christianity, our family members are all in Christianity, and they still believe in this inclusiveness. And, there's nothing wrong with inclusiveness, but you got to realize there's an order. We don't even know how to serve our own Elohim. So surely you don't have the answer.
I got a question on, because our family members do try to include everybody, but when you read a lot of the songs, David is like talking crap about get rid of them, kill them, whatever. I mean, don't let their kids live. So I'm like, why are we so inclusive as far as other races, I guess I could say? Because you're only supposed to be praying for your family members, which are your Hebrew family members.
Well, it's because, you know what, we have been trained to be that way. That's something that we have been trained to do. You know, and I pray for everybody. I do. I pray for everybody. You know, that whatever the will of the Most High is, that it is done. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, I look at it like this. If you focus on correcting you, and you focus on changing you, you know, the Most High will do what he needs to do with the other nations, because there's a punishment for all of us. That's Israel, that's the nation, the other nations, that's the Caucasian nation, that's Iran, that's Egypt. There's a punishment that the Most High has for all unrighteousness. You know what I'm saying? So we have to focus on us. You know, and it's going to be painful. Like I said, it's a very painful thing, even being Israel, to come into this truth and know you've been lied to.
Yes. Can I add to that, Sister Yaina? I think it's important. When we talk about the Great Deception, the Great Deception was to get us to the point where we do not realize and know that the Elohim, the one and only God, is our God, because we don't understand or didn't understand until he woke us up in these last days, was because we are the people of the covenant, when we commit sin, it's like kryptonite to us. We continue to keep ourselves in greater destruction. The other people have not, up until this point, I would say, because I'm starting to see it looks like judgment coming on other nations as the time winds down for our penalty, that, you know, we're starting to see that other people get judged. Before, we were the ones who were really, anytime you did something, we were always in trouble because of our disobedience. And as a people, when you don't know that, you don't realize this sin, it keeps you messed up. You can't do what other people do. And we didn't get that, and we didn't know that with this whole inclusive theology, that it's about everybody. And that is very dangerous. And that because everybody didn't have the same understanding. And of course, then the adversary would not want us to know that, because when we get it right, but there was that set time by the Most High anyway, that, you know, all this kingdom comes down, and Christ's kingdom reigns. And I think that's so important that, you know, when we think about what has happened to us over time, today in 2018, people would be more challenged to believe that we are the people than they probably would have been in the 50s when we walked more righteously. You know, we have seemed so far from it today, but we're closer to the end of that time, and I just think that's very interesting.
Absolutely. Very good point. And that's very true. You know, and like I said, we have to learn about our Elohim. We have to learn what he takes and what he doesn't take. And, you know, and I was thinking about my grandchildren, and I have grandsons. You know, I have 2 granddaughters and 3 grandsons. And I was listening to my grandsons, and I spent the day with one of them a couple last week. And we had a long talk. And, you know, I said, you know, what is my approach? What do I do? Because I'm the elder in the family that's conscious. So, I asked the Most High, how do I introduce you to him? You know, give me some skills and some knowledge on how to introduce him to you. And I heard the scripture say the fear of Yah is the beginning of wisdom.
Amen.
You know, and so I began to show him the things that will happen in the last days when you don't obey Yah. You know, and I didn't even open up the Bible yet, because we're getting there. You know, because I don't want him to be like, oh my God, here she comes. But I began to show him the progressive things that are going to happen to those who disobey the Most High. And like I told him, I said, you are the eldest in the family. You have to be the one to take this to your brothers, and you have to be the one to stand up and take this to your friends once you understand what this thing is all about. I said, you really can't tell them anything now, but you got to be able to take this to your friends. And his eyes were so big as pool balls, but guess what it did? It gave him responsibility.
Amen.
It gave him accountability. You know, because we have to make them accountable. You just because you're young don't mean you'll get a pass. You will be consumed with the rest of the people.
That's right.
You know, so as we begin to teach our children and bring them into this structure, they will be able to get a better understanding of it. And so that's what I like about what you just said. You know, they didn't want us to know this. They didn't want us to understand that we was a separate people. And guess what? Now what they call us? We identity extremists.
Because their system is coming down and they know it.
Right.
They're like, uh-oh. Let's fear them into not accepting who they are. Let's try. But they don't understand this is by the Most High. Nothing can stop it. Just like nothing could stop everything else that had to happen, nothing will stop this. It just can't be done.
And then guess what? If we're teaching righteousness, why is it a problem?
Right.
I mean, you know, when you look at the enemy, it's okay. Like, why is it a problem? We don't promote killing the police. We don't promote our young people in the street killing and going through that. We're telling our young kids to stand down and let's get to know our Elohim so he can come and get us out of here. But even that is a problem because you know why? They don't want us to ever come into the knowledge of who we are. Ever. Because they know when that happens, Yah is on his way.
That's right.
Yep. Right.
And if it's a good thing, and we're not promoting hatred, we're not promoting violence, we're not promoting racism. We are just promoting our culture and getting to know who we really are. Now it's a problem. Now we identity extremists. I'm like, really?
Right. Because we're not really worshiping their God.
Exactly.
We're worshiping our own.
That's right.
Right.
And what did he tell us we was going to be made to do, sis, when we came over here?
Well, we're worshiping other gods of stone and God of wood.
That's what he said. And guess what? We're breaking that chain, and they're getting nervous.
Right. Yep.
Yeah, because they're getting nervous because the more that we come into the knowledge of who we are and who our God is, they know that they're losing the grip on us, and that's why they are so afraid, and they want to keep us dumbed down. And every time we come into knowledge and truth of something, they'll move us into something else to throw us off.
Yes, absolutely. Strategically placed. Watch.
You can definitely see the lawlessness that's happening throughout the earth. The lawlessness, and we as the people are going to start grabbing because we need that order. And going back because the laws were only given to us.
That's right. That's right.
Restore the earth back to righteousness.
Yeah, you better come on here. You better say that again. And that's what the enemy fears. Oh my God! If they keep on doing this, the other nations is gonna start listening. Like, what? We really, in order to really meet the Most High and be on His good side, we got to keep the Sabbath. Can you imagine if 2 million people started keeping the Sabbath?
Right.
Get down the economy.
Hallelujah.
You know that would shut down if 2 million people stop eating pork.
Right. I make a joke now. That pork industry is getting hurt because I know we're getting hurt right now.
Yeah. And they can't be losing their money like that because we stop the pork, we stop their money from flowing.
Exactly. So now we have the answer to it. Because it's like, okay, if 1 or 2 of them do it, it ain't no big deal. But if you got 2 million people listening to this and 2 million people decide that they ain't going to wear no more clothing that's got blended fabric in it, what would that do to the fabric industry? What would that do? Guess what? If they start eating right, their body's going to start healing themselves. What would that do to the pharmaceutical company? I mean, you know what I'm saying? When you just start running it down, all of it, it's like,
shut it all down.
Everything is falling.
Yes.
And He gave this to us to live by, so that He said what? So that we may live and not die.
Absolutely.
And just when it comes to the strangers, I think we just have to also be reminded that the strangers are the strangers. Now, some of them will have a name as, significant as Israel, but they are still the strangers. They're not Israel. And because of our conditioning, we always want to include everybody, although nobody seeks to include us. But that's part of our sickness. But then again, we are the people, and so people have to come in under our leadership for the eternal kingdom. So maybe that's a part of it too. But we have to keep in mind the strangers are the strangers, and the Most High is going to do with them what He will. Just as He will do with us what He will. We can't be so concerned about the stranger.
Exactly.
We have to be concerned about us.
It's enough to keep your own family in check to try to get this truth. Yep. I don't have the day off. I did have Monday off, but when I decided I'm going to commit Monday night to my grandsons because I have to give them, and I told them it's my responsibility as the elder to teach you these things. Because there's nobody else around that will be able to teach them, not even from a male standpoint, that will be able, most of the males in our family are deceased. So, it's like it's my responsibility, and I take pleasure in it. I was like, if you give me the strength, I'm going to do it. But guess what, sis? The thing about that is like you said, the strangers are the strangers, and we have to put them in their category. And like we said the other day, they're coming, but our men can't marry them. They cannot be married to them. It's a lot of things that separate the stranger from Israel. But even with that, the treatment that Yah is going to give them as a stranger is going to be totally different than we got in this country as a stranger. And those are the ones that you will be able to tell that are really of a broken spirit because they're not going to care. They're going to come and say, what is it that we need to do?
That's right. And some of them are doing it right now. They say, we accept the Messiah as a black man. We accept that you are the children of Israel. And so, and that will continue. But some of our people, we do want to consider the strangers because we have an affinity or an affection for them. And, and what I'm saying to that is, we have to be concerned with us. There's a lot of healing that has to happen with your own people. And sometimes when others are involved, there's things that we won't do for us because we're so involved in what everyone else is doing. And so I'm just going to leave it there.
That's right. All right, let me get back here. Here we go. All right, now he has to fulfill something with making David's kingdom last forever and to be the royal seed. Because there was a prophecy spoken in Genesis chapter 49 over Yehudah. So we're going to Genesis 49, 8 through 10. Who spoke this prophecy?
Jacob.
Israel spoke this prophecy to Judah. And if you look in Genesis 49, he spoke over all of his 12 sons. Mm-hmm. What was going to befall them in the last days. And watch what he said. He said, Yehudah, thou art he whom thy brethren shall praise. Thy hand shall be in the neck of thine enemies. Thy father's children shall bow down before thee. So guess what? All of the other nations have to bow down before Yehudah. Why? Because we're the royal tribe.
Hallelujah.
He said, Yehudah is a lion's whelp. From the prey, my son, thou art gone up. He stooped down. He crouched as a lion. And as an old lion, who shall arouse him? Watch. He said, the scepter, which is the ruling authority, shall not depart from Yehudah, nor a lawgiver from between his feet, until Shiloh come, and unto him shall be the gathering of the people be. So until the Most High, the Messiah, come to bring an order to the earth, it's our turn. We have to be the one to take this to the next level. The whole earth is waiting on Yehudah to stand up.
Right. Amen.
And it has to be the ruling dynasty. And that's why I always tell people, when I look at America and I see in the United Nations, all of the nations that are in there, those nations are ancient. From Syria to Persia, to Russia, to Babylon, to Lebanon, Egypt, Ethiopia. These nations are thousands of years old. They can trace their history back thousands and thousands and thousands of years. And then you have America, that officially is only 230 some odd years. That's when all the nations became united, I'll say that. That's why they call it the United States of America. When you have a nation that is that small and has only been around for that short a period of time, and that this nation on the whole earth consume the majority of the resources of the earth. We consume the majority of the resources.
Yes.
There's a reason why Yah has allowed this nation to have the privileges that it has. And I believe that the ruling people of Yehudah is in this nation.
Amen.
I concur.
We have lived good compared to a lot of other. And some of you military men that's been around the world, you know the difference between there and here. It's about the best thing smoking.
I've traveled a few since I've been in Europe, and I'll say amen to that, my sister.
No, and there's a reason why. Because Yehudah is here.
Yes, it is. Yes.
The royal house of King David is in America.
I believe that.
That's where they came and got from Africa, so-called. They came and got all of those people from Judah land, or so-called Negro land, and those were Judites. I love when they got scattered by the Romans, they went into Africa. Dan was already in that region at that particular time, but Judah migrated down there, and that's where they wouldn't have called it Judah land if Yehudah wasn't there. So that's where they got most of our people from and brought them here to America and scattered them throughout. But it was Judah, and the punishment was on Judah.
It was. It sure was, Brother Donnie. I mean, it really was the Southern Kingdom. The curse that he spoke was on us, because the Northern Kingdom was already gone.
That is correct.
That's right.
It was already gone into Assyria.
But wasn't it also Judah was scattered to the four corners? So it's not only America, not that you're saying.
Right. It's not, no. You know what? I didn't say the whole nation. I said the royal house of King David. I believe we have some of Judah in here, because you got to understand how the procession went. You know, with Abraham, he used Abraham's covenant to choose a nation.
That is correct.
And then he used David's covenant. No, let me see. Then he used Jacob's covenant to choose a tribe. And then he used David's covenant to choose a family that was going to rule the nation. So there's a progressive procession of how he chose all of these things to play out. So even though you have Judah as a royal tribe, it still has to be filtered down to the seed of David, because everybody that's in the tribe of Judah is not a part of the seed of David.
That's what happened in Babylon. That's what happened in Babylon, right? When they went into captivity, who was in the house of in Babylon, in the king's palace? Judah.
Judah, absolutely. Judah. So, I mean, you know what I'm saying? You have to understand, and that's I'm glad you brought that up, sis, because some of Judah has been all over the world.
Oh, this was Kevin.
They've been separate. Judah, Benjamin, and the parts of Levi all over the world.
That is correct.
And some of them are in America too. But the royal line of King David, I believe, is here.
I concur.
Because we have had it. This is about the best thing smoking. And you know what? They get so mad when I say I'm ready to go. They get an attitude, and it's like, look, you don't have to pick your poison. I mean, because one, you don't want us here, but then you don't want us to go. It can't be both ways. The Most High has given us an exit strategy, and we're trying to get out of your way.
Yes. It's all in the scriptures, Sister Yaina. Everything that we need to know is right in the scriptures.
It's going to play a big part.
There's repercussions to it. That's what they know.
He's going to play a big part.
But you have to realize that when we all leave, we're everybody's bread and butter.
Yeah.
We're all everybody's bread and butter.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there'll be problems.
When we leave, they go down. That's why they don't want to go.
That's it. It's the fall of the nation.
Just like Egypt.
Look at what happened with Egypt.
Babylon.
See, they don't want us here, but they don't want us to go, because if they let us go, and then that means that all the dirty jobs, all the low-income jobs they give us, they gave us the worst of everything. That means everything now it flips the table. And then they're going to be the tail of everything.
But my uncle used to say, he said that's why they're letting the Mexicans come in. Because they know we have to leave. I don't know how true that is. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
I agree. I think that's exactly why they're letting them come in.
They're coming in to take our place because they don't want those small, lower talent jobs. Right.
What? You mean the Mexicans are in Israel?
Well, I'm not going to touch that now. I ain't going to touch that. But Yehudah got to go first. Yehudah got to go first. Sister Natanya, what was you saying?
I was saying that they're trying right now to get all of the immigrants out of this country, including the Mexicans.
Yeah, they are trying, but guess what? There's so many laws to keep them from doing that, and to not let that happen, that they're not going to be able to do that. They're not. Because they're going to have to, they're going to have to let somebody come in, because if the Most High said we leaving, guess what we going to do? We leaving.
Yeah, amen.
Absolutely.
And if this, guess what? If there's 2 million people that leave, that's a lot of people.
That'll be the first wave.
Yes, sir. All right, let's go on. Let's move on. Psalms 133. Watch what he says. Psalms 132, verse 11 through 14. Sorry. Psalms 132. Watch, verse 11. It says, the Most High has sworn in truth unto David that he will not turn from it. Of the fruit of thy body will I set upon thy throne. This he swore this. He said, if thy children will keep my covenant and my testimony, that I shall teach them, and their children shall also sit upon thy throne forevermore. For the Most High has chosen Zion. He has desired it for his habitation. That's crucial right there. Woo! He's coming to Zion. He said, this is what I have chosen. Watch. This is my rest forever. Here will I dwell, for I have desired it. He said, Zion is where I'm going to be. That's why I told you, there ain't going to be too much more foolishness going on over there. They ain't got to set time, because when he decides that he's ready to clear that up, it's going to be a done deal.
Ain't that Mount Moriah?
Yes, that's Sinai. Zion, what they say Zion is Mount Moriah, it's Mount Sinai, but
ain't that where, you understand, that's supposed to be holy ground, because that's where Moshe had to take off his shoes at. Ain't that the place?
Yes, sir. Tell him the chills. He said, I'm coming. He said, this is my rest forever. Here will I dwell, for I have desired.
Amen. Hallelujah.
He coming to the earth. And then Christianity tell you he coming to get you and take you to the kingdom.
Yeah, right.
The Most High said, I'm coming to the earth.
That ain't happening.
So we ain't got long, do we?
No, sir. No, sir. All right, the token. Watch what it says. Here we go. Y'all's covenant. Psalms 89. We're going to do verse 34 through 37. I hope y'all writing this down. It says, my covenant, verse 34, my covenant will I not break, nor alter the thing that is gone out of my lips. He said, not only am I not going to break it, but I'm not altering it either. Why? Once I have sworn by my holiness that I will not lie unto David. His seed shall endure forever, and his throne as the sun before me. It shall be established forever as the moon and as a faithful witness in heaven. So the moon or the sun and the moon is an establishment that he made a promise to David.
Hallelujah.
This is what covenant does. The Most High honors us. He said, I'm not going to alter nothing, I ain't breaking it. I'm not. Watch with it. Here we are, 2 Samuel chapter 7. We're going back there again, verses 23 through 26. And here we go back here again. And what one nation in the earth is like unto thy people? Even like Israel, whom Yah went to redeem for a people to himself. He came and got us so we could be his people. I know that make the other nations mad. I know you all out there that's listening under the sound of my voice, you upset. But he said, I'm not breaking my covenant nor altering it in any way. He chose us to be his people. Well, look what he says. And to make him a name, and to do for you great things and terrible for thy land, before thy people which thou redeemest to thee from Egypt, from the nations and their gods. He said, for thou hast confirmed to thyself thy people Israel to be a people unto thee forever.
Hallelujah.
So let me make sure I understand what you're saying. In other words, the same way he dealt with our forefathers, he's going to deal with us.
Yes, sir.
Amen.
Hallelujah.
Yes, sir.
Hallelujah.
Amen. That's why I said it's time to do some repenting. If you do this, you ought to be the best you can be. There ain't no foolishness. Watch what he said. He said, and thou, Yah, art become their Elohim. He's our God.
Amen.
He's our God.
Hallelujah.
He said, and now, O Yah Elohim, the word that thou hast spoken concerning thy servant and concerning his house, establish it forever, and do as thou hast said. He said, and let thy name be magnified forever, saying, the Most High of hosts is the Elohim over Israel. He said, the God of the universe is our God.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Yes, indeed. He belongs to Israel. He said, and let the house of thy servant David be established before thee. All right, we got a few more words. We almost finished. Jeremiah chapter 33. This is all dealing with David. We got to put it on the record because David has to come back. Jeremiah 33, verse 19 through 24. And it says, and the word of the Most High came unto Jeremiah, saying, thus saith the Most High, if ye can break my covenant of the day and my covenant of the night, and that there should not be day and night in their season, he said, then may also my covenant be broken with David my servant, that he should not have a son to reign upon his throne. Watch what he said, and with the Levites, the priests, my ministers. He said, not only David, but the Levites, the priests, my ministers. That's what it all means. He said, my stuff going to be established. He said, as the host of heaven cannot be numbered, neither the sands of the sea measured, so will I multiply the seed of David my servant and the Levites that minister unto me. He said, there's going to be so many of them, you ain't even going to be able to number them.
Ain't going to be able to number. That's what he told Abraham.
Yes, David is going to be multiplied and the Levite seed going to be multiplied.
Lord.
Watch. He said, moreover, the word of the Most High came to Jeremiah, saying, consider thou not what this people have spoken, saying, two families which the Most High has chosen. Has he even cast them off? Thus they have despised my people, that they should be no more a nation before them. Didn't they do that to us?
I get it, man.
We've been everything but a nation.
Everything.
They gave us every name they could possibly give us. And then they gave us Black History Month. 28 days to talk about the things that we've done since we've been here. That's what they gave us. Watch. He said, thus saith the Most High, if my covenant be not with day and night, and if I have not appointed ordinances of heaven and earth, then will I cast away the seed of Yaakov and David my servant, so that I will not take any of his seed to be rulers over the seed of Abraham, Isaac, and Yaakov, for I will cause their captivity to return and have mercy on them.
Glory to Yah.
David's seed gonna rule over all of them. And that's why it's such a fight. Because guess what? That includes the Arabs. He said the seed of Abraham. Abraham got so many kids, it's unbelievable. The Midianites, Edom, all that. All that's Abraham's seed.
That's correct.
Ishmael. And then Isaac got what? He got Jacob and the Edomites.
Yeah.
And not only them, he's going to rule over the other 11 tribes of Jacob's sons.
That is correct.
I got a question, because, it says, it's going to be so many of them, you can't even count them as far as, the sands of the sea. But when you read a lot about the wilderness and returning, he says a remnant. So that remnant going to be?
It's going to be huge.
Okay.
It ain't going to be no 1,000 folk. It's going to be huge. It's going to be a number that you want. It was already 1 million plus coming out of Egypt. It's going to be huge. And see, we always think it's small. No, it ain't going to be but a few. It ain't going to be but a little bit of, no, it's going to be huge.
That's been our problem. We've been getting all that the remnant, and it's always been small. So we think everything is small, but the remnant is going to be vast. You understand? Remember, we're going into the wilderness, man. That's a vast area right there. We're going to have to build a nation right there. Because we ain't going into the land unless we're a nation, period.
We already a nation. We just scattered everywhere, and they know it. We already a nation.
We just need to unify.
We just got to come back together. And you know what?
That's what I'm talking about.
When we
I
can't,
think soon as you get in this will, they're going to do it.
We're coming back together. And guess what? We don't ever want to propose a threat because this isn't even the government we're supposed to be under.
Amen.
We just want to leave.
One thing we got to realize
they see us as terrorists. They see us as terrorists as we do the righteous work of God. So that's what they're going to label us with as we walk in the righteousness of Yah. Because we're doing the right things, things are turning around for us, then they're going to label us as terrorists. How can terrorists do good?
That's one reason why we got to stay close to the Almighty and repent, you understand, so that the Almighty could cover us. Because once this captivity of this punishment is ended, we are fully covered. And those of us that will repent, you understand, have a good chance of saving their soul.
And that's why I tell everybody, follow the law. Be righteous. Do everything that you're supposed to do. Go to work, be on time, do your job. You know what I'm saying? But even with that, that's still a problem because there's a lot of things they do on the job you cannot participate in.
That is correct.
It's true.
And then they label you an outsider. Do you want to have fun? Everyone's getting ready to celebrate Halloween. And we just want to... No, I don't do that.
No.
Yes, indeed.
No.
Another thing we got to do.
If you say you God's people, how you going to prove it?
Exactly. Brother Kevin, you sound real low. I can't hear you.
Let me turn my volume up. I was going to say the reason why we're going to be such a large nation, you got to take into account the day of the Lord and judgment. A lot of people are going to die when that happens.
Mm-hmm.
That is correct.
We're going to be the biggest nation just from the fallout of the day of the Lord.
That's true. That's true. So, it's a problem. And when people start labeling us as terrorists, and a lot of it has to do with the presentation that some of the Israelites had put on YouTube. But I don't think it would matter even if that was on there because it's a conflict of interest for the host nation that we're in because we're doing everything contradictory to the things that they taught us.
Mm-hmm.
And we're making people, we're helping the people as they begin to wake up to understand who Yah really is.
Right.
Because these people don't worship Yah. They don't.
That's right.
Absolutely.
So, it's like, okay, we got to do something. And you know what? They're probably going to be to the point like, okay, we got to do something about these folks. We need to get them up out of here. Because they're causing a problem. Just being righteous.
That's exactly what Egypt. They had to give themselves No, they did the same thing.
We got to hurry up and rush them up out here. Okay, here we go. The 1,000-year reign. Okay, Isaiah chapter 9, verse 6 through 9. It said, now we believe, I want to make a disclaimer. We have Messianic and non-Messianic on the line. This is one of the scriptures that the Messianic pulls out for the Messiah. For unto us a child is born, and unto us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder, and his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. Now watch what it says. It says, of the increase of his government and peace there shall be no end. Upon the throne of David and upon his kingdom. So this still has to do with David. To order it, so he's ordering and establishing the king of the kingdom of David, to establish it with judgment and with justice from henceforth forever. The zeal of the Most High of hosts will perform this. And the Most High sent a word unto Jacob, and it has lighted it upon Israel. And all the people shall know, even from Ephraim and the inhabitants of Samaria, that say in the pride and stoutness of heart. He said, all the people going to know that David's kingdom, it will be established forever. It's not going nowhere. Now, this is the end of it, just real quick to let everybody know, that Zedekiah was our last king, official king of our kingdom. And his reign ended when we went into Babylon. That was the last time that our kingdom was actually established as a kingdom. And that was a long time ago. Now, it says Zedekiah also written, I don't even, Sister Natanya, can you help me with this name?
The same Zedekiah?
No, the one that starts with a T.
Yeah. Zedekiah.
Zedekiah was originally called Mattanyahu, or Mattaniah, was a biblical character, the last king of Yehudah before the destruction of the kingdom by Babylon. He was born in 618 BC. He died in Babylon, which is called Iraq. Reigned from 597 to 586 BC. Parents' name was Josiah, Hamudal. Children, Mulet, Tia, Tepai. Siblings, Joahaz of Yehudah and Jehoiakim.
Yeah.
It says, according to the biblical Bible, Zedekiah was made king of Yehudah by Nebuchadnezzar II in 597 BC at the age of 21. He was put on the throne by the grace of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, whose power extended over Yehudah and all neighboring countries after his victory over Pharaoh Necho of Egypt at Carchemish. Zedekiah, whose name was Mattaniah, before Nebuchadnezzar had changed it, succeeded his nephew, King Joachim, who had surrendered himself to Nebuchadnezzar in order to save Jerusalem. So now next week we're going to get into the law given to a nation, because we have to start dealing with the law as it pertains to us as a nation, because Christianity tells you don't have to keep the law. You know, and when we go into 1 John chapter 3, which is what most of the New Testament apostles were doing, was quoting the law or precepting something. It says that sin is the transgression of the law. But if they're in Christianity and they think that they're Gentiles, you see how they have successfully tricked us into believing that we were, again, somebody else?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Right. They have us believing we somebody else because it's too dangerous for us to find out who we really are.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, that's what it was.
That's why they had to change our color and our skin and everything else on us.
Right.
Yes.
This was the greatest identity theft, a whole nation.
Yeah. And they said,
they couldn't have went no other way.
The Edomites took over our identity.
Yes, and they did.
They know who he was in the beginning. They know.
Yes. So let me say this. This is for you all who are listening out in the audience. We thank you for joining us today for our class. We are ending the recording. And we're not going to leave the class. A lot of people hang up when I say this. So I'm going to say this. We are ending